So everything is going well with Black Ops 6. The community seems pretty happy with what we've been shown so far for the zombies, the campaign, the multiplayer. Pretty much every aspect of the game seems to have been well received. I say pretty much because there are two things that people have been pointing out, which I think are legitimate concerns. Now, they're not exactly new to us, because these two problems, or I should really say one problem, you'll see why in just a second, but they have been issues for quite a few years now. These have been things that have been in Call of Duty ever since, I think, Black Ops 4. So for long enough, you would have thought people would have not gotten over it, but come to accept that this is what Call of Duty has become. And I wouldn't even call it a COD specific thing, it's just a modern day gaming issue in general. And these two problems are the size of video games nowadays, how many gigabytes of storage they take up when you consider how little storage you get with consoles. PCs are in a world of their own, but for the consoles, the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X or the S, I don't play Xbox, but I can say for me, personally on the PlayStation, I've already had to buy an external hard drive because the storage that you get on the PS5 just isn't big enough. With how much storage video games need nowadays, Call of Duty definitely takes up the most memory, but even other games, it means I can only keep about 3 or 4 games on my PS5. I had to keep deleting and then spending hours re-downloading a video game every time I wanted to play it or play a new one, so I, like many other people, had no other option but to go out of your way, spend extra money on an external hard drive. That was never a problem on the older consoles, the Xbox 360, the PS3. Back in the day, this was never an issue because you didn't have to install games. Whenever you got a new video game on day one, you could just put it into your console and play it straight away. You didn't have to spend hours upon hours waiting for it to install first. So this is just a modern day video game problem. I hate it. It's not COD specific, but COD is the main perpetrator. It is the franchise that, without a doubt, takes up the most memory. And so when people went onto the Black Ops 6 website and learned that the approximate size this game is going to take up is 309 gigabytes, people were going crazy because we've got no room to install these games on our consoles anymore. The more we get, the less storage space we have. Either you go out and buy even more external hard drives, or you end up having to delete games. Now, this has since been kind of cleared up because a lot of people were confused thinking that this was purely just for Black Ops 6, but Call of Duty's official updates Twitter page said, correction, the estimated file size currently displayed on the Black Ops 6 pre-order pages does not represent the download size or disk footprint for Black Ops 6. The size as shown includes the full installation of Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, Warzone, and all relevant content packs, including all localized languages combined, which is not representative of a typical player install experience. Players will be able to download Black Ops 6 at launch without downloading any other Call of Duty title or the language packs. The actual estimation of the Black Ops 6 file size will be available closer to launch. So this 309 gigabyte size isn't purely for Black Ops 6, that also includes MW2, MW3, Warzone, and any other content and language pack. And of course, you don't need all of them. So if you want to, unless I'm wrong in saying this, you can delete Modern Warfare 2, you can delete Modern Warfare 3, you can delete certain content packages, such as the campaign, so once you've finished that, you can remove it. That'll save a bunch of storage. You can also delete the multiplayer if you want to, although for a lot of zombies maps, you need that, especially MW3 zombies. 309 gigabytes is for everything. They haven't yet said the specific size for just Black Ops 6. I have seen some people saying it will be about 90 gigabytes. I don't know, which means yes, if you do want all of this, MW2, 3, Black Ops 6, you are going to need over 300 gigs of storage. But if you just want BO6 on its own and end up deleting all of the other packages that you don't use, then the file size might be something like 100 gigs or 150, 200, which is still extreme, but it's not quite 300 because I can say now as a content creator, and I would say the same as a player as well, I need MW3 for the zombies mode, I need Cold War zombies installed. I do now move them over to my external hard drive so I can just copy and paste them instead of deleting them, which takes about 10 minutes instead of hours. But because I still need and kind of want to play the older zombies games as well as the new ones and not have to delete and re-download them constantly, Call of Duty still takes up the majority of my storage space. To be honest, it's still an absolute joke. I do know they are trying to make file sizes smaller. I don't know the internals of video game development, so why they're so big in the first place I don't know, or why we ever needed to even download video games. What changed? What happened between those older consoles to now? Why did this all of a sudden become a thing? A lot of you guys could probably explain that to me in the comment section, but at least it does mean that Black Ops 6 isn't 300 gigabytes on its own. That's everything. And if you don't need all of that stuff, then the amount of storage it will take up will be smaller, but still, the more games we get, the bigger this gets. it is a problem, but not as bad as we initially thought, so I can kind of forgive them for that one. But the other huge problem that a lot of people are having with BO6 is this. Now, again, this has been an issue ever since Black Ops 4, maybe even before that, I can't quite remember, but it's the fact that you need an internet connection to play new Call of Duty games, including Black Ops 6. On their website about this, it says, to deliver the highest quality visuals while also reducing the game's overall storage space on your hard drive, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 will use texture streaming across all game modes. This means you'll need a continuous internet connection to play any game mode, including campaign. If you're on a console, campaign can be played without a premium subscription service, such as Game Pass Core or PlayStation Plus. So this isn't exactly new. I just went back to test whether you could play more recent Call of Duty games without an internet connection, and you can for some modes. So if we go to Black Ops Cold War and load it up without an internet connection, for the zombies mode, this is what the main menu looks like. A lot of important information is missing, such as your status and details, as you would expect. That is all online information. The battle pass and the store section is missing. You can't access it, which again, you'd expect because that's all online stuff. But what I did find interesting is if you don't have internet for zombies, you can't access things such as skills. There's just no option for it. Skills are a big part of the gameplay for Black Ops Cold War Zombies, which allow you to upgrade your perks, your ammo mods, your weapons. If you don't have an internet connection for Cold War Zombies, you can't upgrade anything. You can't access basic features, but you can still play the game, or at least the core round-based zombies maps, Die Machine, Firebase C, Toten, and Forsaken. You can't play the Outbreak mode, and you also can't play Onslaught, which again you kind of expect because those are multiplayer maps, but still it's crazy to think what is half of Cold War Zombies you just can't play without an internet connection, whereas back in the old day you could easily play zombies offline. You could access every single thing in the zombies mode offline. In Cold War, half of it is just missing. And I was also wondering, because I've never experienced this myself, although I did see a lot of people saying they have. I don't have the best internet, so I'm kind of lucky this hasn't happened to me whilst I was playing, but I was wondering what would happen if you played zombies solo while connected to the internet and then it disconnects, and well, as you could see, your game would just end. So for high round players, this is a real big issue because your two choices are to either play without an internet connection, but then you can't access half of the basic features in the game, like skills, or you play with an internet connection, but if anything happens, such as, I don't know, your router getting knocked offline, well, you're going to be disconnected and your game will end. Whereas back in the old days, this was never an issue. But like I said, at the very least, you can play Cold War Zombies offline. It's the same for the campaign. Multiplayer, obviously not. But then I wondered, well, what about Modern Warfare 3? Because the zombies mode in that game is totally different. We don't have the standard round-based maps. We have this big giant Warzone map that we play on. So I was curious, I loaded the game up, and you can't play MW3 Zombies without an internet connection. Unlike Cold War, when you're offline, the zombies mode doesn't even pop up. You can play local multiplayer, or you can play the campaign. But zombies offline, well, doesn't exist, which kind of scares me for the future because, I don't know, what if in 20, 30 years time, Activision decide to shut down the Modern Warfare 3 servers? Well, that's MW3 Zombies gone forever. I don't know how many people will be bothered about that because it's just average, but still, it's more the principle. You've paid for it, you would expect to have that for life, but well, if they ever decide to shut the servers down for this game, then that mode goes with it. I did also want to test this same thing out for Vanguard Zombies, but I don't have it downloaded. I'm not going to spend hours installing that game just to test this out for 1 minute and then delete it because it's total trash. But if any of you guys can remember, one of the main issues when Vanguard released with the Zombies mode was that you couldn't pause the game. A feature as basic as pausing you couldn't do in Vanguard Zombies, and Treyarch's excuse was that they had issues with moving zombies to an infrastructure that was hosted entirely on dedicated servers. Now, the pause feature was added later on, I think about 3 months later, but then you can only pause the game for 2 hours, after which, well, I don't know what would happen because I never tested it. And I will also say Vanguard Zombies is the laggiest game I have ever played, and that's because you need an internet connection to play it. And that's the problem with modern games. It's that you need to be connected to a server to play them. And so now that Black Ops 6 is in this exact same position, I can't lie and say I'm angry because I'm always connected to the internet myself. I've never had my internet turn off and then be disconnected from a zombies match, and I don't really play multiplayer because it's hella laggy because of my bad internet. But being a zombies player, this hasn't been too much of an issue for me. I would prefer the safety of just playing offline, but then you don't get half of the features. And so to know that Black Ops 6 also requires an internet connection is annoying, I know, for a lot of people, but I think I've just become so used to it now. I understand that that's just the way it's gonna be. It doesn't put me off buying it. That's just the way it is. Is it annoying? Yes. Is it unnecessary? Probably not. Although the fact that they don't mention that Black Ops 6 Zombies can't be played offline does kind of worry me. If it's going to end up being like MW3 Zombies where you just can't play it offline at all, that is worrying. I could remember back in the day I could just take my console around to my friend's house and just play Zombies. We wouldn't be connected to the internet, but if BO6 does require an internet connection to play Zombies, if it does require a connection to play multiplayer at all, they do say the campaign can be played without a subscription service, but Zombies, that's a legitimate concern. And I can see why people have been bringing this up. But it also seems to be the standard in Call of Duty now, so it's not like it's a new issue, it's something that we've just gotten used to. But apart from these two small things, everything else about Black Ops 6 looks to be good, as long as you are connected to the internet and have enough storage to download everything. But yeah, there we go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video today. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.